US President Donald Trump's tariff war has not just upended global trade, it has unleashed a price rise that is affecting US consumers as well. This can be a real political threat for a president who promised to lower consumer prices during the campaign. In an effort to provide relief to low-income citizens from his own tariff tirade, the president has suggested distributing cash payments to American citizens. These benefits, he says, will be funded by the tariffs his administration has imposed on foreign imports.
Some Republicans have been pushing for tariff checks to go out. The basic idea is move the money back.
Now, there are a lot of people that would like to see us do sort of a dividend to the people of our country. It's something I'd consider.
How much would be?
I want to pay off debt, but there's a possibility I'd do a dividend.
The proposal comes amid growing debate over the impact of Trump's tariff policies, which have raised prices on a range of imported goods while generating significant government revenue.
Every time I come, it's more money, more price, more rising prices. It's terrible. I can't believe this. And it doesn't seem to have an end coming up at all.
I am worried. I actually purchased a car because I was worried about the tariffs coming up, honestly, because they were warning us. We purchased a new vehicle for that reason. Yeah.
The pressure is mounting on Donald Trump. His approval ratings are down to the lowest level since his return to the White House. On top of that, recently released job data shows hiring rates are going down and unemployment numbers are going up. Trump refuted the data released by Bureau of Labor Statistics, calling it rigged. Later, he fired the head of the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The move has sparked outrage from economists and policy experts who warned that the White House may be politicizing independent economic data. Now, according to the reports, wage growth for America's lowest paid workers is slowing down faster than it is for higher paid workers, deepening inequality in the country. With rising costs and shrinking take-home pay, many lower-wage households now face mounting pressure. With a cash dividend proposal on the table, the question remains, is Trump trying to bring back the lower and middle-income support base into the fold before high-stakes 2026 midterms elections? Mr. Raymond E. Vickery is a former U.S. Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Trade Development and Senior Associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. Mr. Vickery is now joining us from Washington, D.C. Mr. Vickery, good to see you, and thank you very much for your time. Do you believe the president when he says that dividends will be paid to Americans from his tariffs? Do you trust him?
Well, it's very difficult to take at face value anything our president says because it changes from day to day. That having been said, thanks very much for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with WION. I think that the first point that ought to be recognized here is that this proposal which he's floated is an implicit recognition that what Donald Trump, President Trump said in the first place, that the foreign nations would be paying these taxes, these tariffs, is just not true. These tariffs are really a tax paid by Americans and in most part passed on to Americans. And people are beginning to realize that, as you've indicated in your segment, by rising prices. And so what he's trying to do is to throw out something which will ameliorate that damage to the average man and woman. There are other problems with this proposal. One is a constitutional one. The president seems to be in a mode to disregard the Constitution, but it's plain that the Constitution of the United States gives the power to lay and collect taxes and distribute money to the Congress and not to the president. So being able to just do that on its own is not in the cards. Also, the question of who gets it. You know that this tax, so-called big, beautiful bill, passed recently gives the benefits to the upper 1 or 2% of Americans rather than those people who are really being hurt most by the tariffs, and that is at the people at the lower end of the scale. Also, the distortion in international trade, which is occasioned by tariffs, particularly tariffs which are at different rates on different countries, remains no matter what happens in terms of distribution. So I think that this whole proposal or floating of this idea is really a measure of the fact that he's beginning to see in the polls that his standing is being hurt, and he's grasping for straws to be able to try to ameliorate the damage.
Mr. Vickery, now that you mentioned that, unemployment is on the rise in America. His approval ratings have dipped, and I'm talking about President Donald Trump. Looking forward, 2026 is just around the corner. Do you think President Trump will be able to change the tide before 2026?
Well, you know, with his hardcore MAGA supporters, as he said, he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and it wouldn't make any difference. But there are independents and people who are on the fence who will be very much influenced by this. It's certainly possible in American politics to change almost anything within a year. But the trends are that the very slight majority which he's had, and you have to recognize that in his election it was not a landslide at all, very close in the popular vote. It's only because of peculiarities in our electoral college that it looked like an overwhelming victory. And you'll look at what's happening in the Congress. So I think it's going to be very, very difficult. People who voted their pocketbooks and wanted inflation to come down are seeing it go the other way. And this latest business about firing the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics when the bad jobs report came out is a measure of that desperation. And I think that this is beginning to sink in, and he's going to have a difficult time, not just next year, but here in Virginia, which is just next to Washington, D.C. We have a governor's contest coming up, as in New Jersey, and the polls are all indicating that the Democratic candidates are doing very well at this point.
All right. Mr. Raymond Vickery, it's good to see you. We'll have to end it there. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.